What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Give me just a moment. As usual, the rock star is late. So you unfortunately have to see my my mug on giant screen in front of you right now. My sincerest apologies for that. I didn't mean to do that. But our special guest is in fact a rock star, and rock stars are just, they can't show up on time. The situation, and I'm not even going to say it's egotistical, man. Especially with this guy, he doesn't have an ego, but I imagine right now at this point he just forgets things. And although he knows we have a show right now, for some reason he's just not here yet. So anyway, folks, I'm glad we've got at least one person on the line right now from BDG Group. Whoever you are, my sincerest thanks for being one. Oh, it's starting to pop right now. BDG Group's got about 5 people on right now. As I said, if you're showing up right now, my special guest is a little late. That's okay. This is going to be sort of a freelance show today at any rate. For any of you folks who don't know the content, we're going to be talking about a few bands that have been saying that they're on a farewell tour for a very, very long time right now. So I'm hoping we can get this conversation started. I think we're going live on IG. If there's anybody out there in the comment section right now, I think I was just able to go live on Instagram. So if you're on IG, let me know. I also want to let everybody know, for those of you who follow not only myself and Ken Man on the Casually Serious podcast on all the platforms, for those of you who follow my Cannabis Cowboy channels or anything else that we do, Facebook is now I guess they're going to start blocking third-party applications like StreamYard, which StreamYard is such an amazing tool. I'm a little bummed about that. So I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. So if there's anybody out there who wants to say hello, please drop a line in there. If not, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my special guest to show up because, like I was saying, rock stars just be late all the time. It's ridiculous. But how's everybody doing out there? We are Thursday right now. Yeah, gosh, we're not quite at Friday. Unfortunately, tonight, Ken Man is not going to be with us. I believe he's on vacay, which is pretty awesome. Ken goes on some great vacations because he works his ass off during the entire week throughout everything. Bobby, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Still waiting on my friend. Let's see. I'm thinking maybe. Well, you know what? I don't know. We had a meeting last night. So I know he knows that he's supposed to be here. But again, like I said, what can you say? This guy's royalty around Central Texas when it comes to being a heavy metal musician. So I guess this is what comes along with that territory. Sometimes folks just are late all the time. I don't know what to say about that. But Bobby, how's it going? If there's anybody else here who's hanging out, it looks like we got at least 10 people from Built Different Group. Thank you so much for coming and chilling with me, as well as those on Casually Serious Podcast, Facebook, as well as YouTube. If anybody is out there on IG, definitely drop me a line. Let me know you're out there hanging out. But I don't know. Our boy's 4 minutes late. All right, good stuff. Good thing I'm good at filling in the blanks with these things. So anyway, today, this conversation that we are having, like I said, we're having this conversation today about bands who said they were going on a farewell tour, but just didn't go anywhere. They kept touring. They kept playing. And I guess it's just one of those things that happens. I mean, especially we're talking about some of the old school bands and the ones that are, there's no record industry anymore. So the bands that used to have record contracts or lived throughout that record industry era are trying to figure out how to make money. And at this point, touring is the absolute only way to do it. So it's not really, we can't really blame them for going out and saying, oh, we went out and did a farewell tour and made millions and millions of dollars. Why don't we just keep touring and keep making millions and millions of dollars? In the case of this band right here, Kiss, I know that's definitely what came into play. But there's other bands, too, who just probably said to themselves, I don't want to do it anymore, and then sat around for a little bit and said to themselves, I actually do want to go back on tour. So I'm sure you can think of at least 3-4 bands that said that they were going on tour, or they're going on tour for the last time. And they decided, you know what, we're just going to keep hanging out and making money. And this T-shirt, by the way, is from the farewell tour. That's right, 2000, which is insane. It's pretty crazy considering Kiss maintained touring for the entire time. But again, you can't really turn down money. It's very tough to do when someone's paying you millions and millions of dollars. The Kiss AI got put on hold. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened with that. I know that they kind of dropped it a little too quick. I think that was really just ill-advised for them to put that out so fast, especially without even sort of slow rolling out the concept to people. I know they've been saying for years that Kiss can go on without the original members, but they didn't say that Kiss can go on as computer avatars. But for them to kind of roll that out and just not tell anyone about it is pretty insane. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the AI thing. The AI thing as a whole is kind of terrifying. But there are bands right now. There's a famous hip hop artist who was writing lyrics with NWA way back in the days, who crushed his voice box. His name was DOC. He crushed his voice box right at the peak of his fame, and he could no longer perform. But he did enough in the catalog where he's going to release an album very soon through AI, who's going to use his voice from his previous albums that he released before he got into the accident. So I don't know. I think that's pretty crazy. I don't necessarily like the idea of AI permeating everything that's permeating. But Mikey, what's going on, bro? I love you. I love you, bro. Good to see you. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Unfortunately, my rock star guest is freaking late, and we had a meeting last night about this and everything. So I don't know. You're just gonna have to see my ugly mug fill in some time here until he shows up. And when he does, he's going to get a big fat finger wagging. But yeah, the Kiss AI thing is very odd. I think any band doing that is a little weird. If I'm being honest, I think what's going on with Kiss is that they're just they know that their fan base is willing to pretty much accept anything as long as Gene and Paul are involved. When they put Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer in Peter and Ace's makeup, I think people were upset about it for like 7 minutes, and then that's it. They just they forgot about it because they want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I don't necessarily know how they could have done that. I've been a lifelong fan, and it really irked me. I didn't really, I didn't get a chance to see them until I think '96 for their reunion tour is actually the first time I got to see Kiss. So it was a long time after their peak before I was about to see them. So anyway, thanks for everyone coming and hanging out and chilling out, and especially the folks in BDG hanging on. We've got a couple at the TCSP on Facebook as well as YouTube, which is pretty cool. Don't really have any idea what the hell's going on with my guest. But anyway, folks, how's everything going? We are just relaxing out here. Yeah, this is a bummer. I actually I was going through a bunch of memories. This is almost all of the stack of concert tickets I have, and we're going to show you at least a couple of those today. If my friend ever shows up, I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And again, there's a handful of bands out that have been doing it. There's like I was saying, there's no record industry anymore. So these guys who were making millions and millions of dollars are want to continue making millions and millions of dollars. And our generation, my generation, Generation X, and a little generation older than that, are willing to pay what they want to pay in order to see Gene and Paul. So I don't know. I think they're going to just keep going, and I think most of them will keep going as long as they're going to keep getting paid. I mean, wouldn't you? They are old, though. I mean, the members of Kiss are in their late 60s, 70s, and that's pretty insane to think that they're still able to do what they're doing. But again, money's a big motivator, man. I think if I was making hundreds of millions of dollars now, I would probably want to continue to do that until I could not do that anymore. Brian Smith, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm all alone. I know I'm doing my best to fill in some airtime right now, but I don't know what's going on. I hope my buddy's all right. I'm texting the hell out of him right now. Which again, that's just I don't know. At any rate, so yeah, if there's anybody out there who can think of any other bands that they are tired of seeing that kept saying they wanted to tour. Matter of fact, I mean, Slayer, one of my favorite bands, is actually doing a pickup gig at a festival, and people are kind of upset about that because they just did their farewell tour no less than 2-3 years ago, I think, which is pretty crazy to think. But they're doing another show. You've seen Kiss at an asylum. Wow, that's crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about post makeup albums and how many I had, and I told them I think Asylum was probably the one that that was the last one I bought that was like post makeup, or something like that. But anyway, folks, I think we're ready to roll. I'm hearing someone knock on the green room, which is awesome. Let's get the intro rolling and let's see what's up. And we're back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to jump right into it. The latest MF you will ever see in your entire life is getting ready to hop in the show right now. The baddest bassist I've ever known in my life, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a big hand to Stony. Hey, rhythm section. What's going on, dude?
Dude, how you doing? Let me apologize. Me and my better half had dinner a little while ago. There's Letty. Anyway, a few margaritas here, and
I was going to say, did she cook something good? Because
here, let me apologize to you, Bob, and your listeners and your watchers.
I will let that pass, especially if Letty cooked it. Then I 100% get it.
You're only 10 minutes.
We had to go and talk to our landlord, so things were happening, but
that's life, man. That's all right. Hey, there's been times where I've had my co-host just straight stand me up and not telling me anything about it. So
well,
I'm prepared.
Not do that. Just
I'm prepared for anything,
so to speak.
Well, it's good, man. It's good to see you, dude. How the hell are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's
been apologies all around. So
that's all right. It's been a long couple of days, dude.
Ready to rock.
We're ready to roll, dude. So I already let everybody in the crowd know, which was started off pretty strong, and I guess maybe they got tired of seeing. Maybe we got some folks that are hanging out, and at this point it doesn't really matter, man. We're gonna wag our finger at some multimillionaires right now for the next hour or so.
Salute to all of you guys that are checking in with us, and we appreciate it, man.
Yeah. We have, we got a few, but like I said, I think most of the time, a lot of folks kind of watch these, at least this, though, they kind of watch it like after the fact, which is fine. As long as they get their eyes on it and dig it. But at this point, I always said I was gonna make an excuse to have my brother Stony on as much as I possibly could. You were the first guest that we ever had. So we continue to have you on as much as possible.
Sounds good to me. Let me send you regards.
How are you throwing your voice like that? That's amazing. let me ask you this though, dude. How do you feel about bands that say they're going to go on a farewell tour and then just stick around?
Well, let's start from I think the first person that set the bar low and not high has to be Ozzy. Right? 92?
Let's see. Bing, 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 bing.
Pretty good, Bob. Mundo. I like your graphics, man. It's right on the.
We're gonna take it a step further. Take it a step further.
Ticket stubs. I'm so jealous of your ticket stubs. I find ticket stubs by accident. Oh my God.
So anyway, actually I think there's a double copy of this because I always go with somebody. But this one is more clear. It's a little clearer. But yes, you're exactly right. I remember the show very well. It was the first Ozzy show I ever got to go to. It was probably my second one, was not much further after that. But the one thing I do remember was Ozzy for some reason, he had a stage full of buckets of water. and the dude just doused the first few rows for
You know,
almost the entire show.
He did that for years, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird thing to see. I don't the thing is that I went to that show, I guess sort of maybe having like Speak of the Devil in my mind, maybe having some like clips of some of his tours, that thinking that was going to be the thing, and some spandex, unitard or something. So,
Yeah,
but to
well,
see him come out with the buckets.
Do you remember anybody else before that saying, "This is it"? I'm done. We're done. You'll never see us again. You'll never see me again.
No, because we're talking about 1992 right now when this happened.
He was the first guy to say, "No more tours. I'm done."
You want to hear a crazy
and
opinion I have on that?
Like 2 years in '95, he was back.
Yeah. Real quick, we're back, man.
So he
we're gonna fucking do it, man.
It's kind of like he set the bad standard, in a way.
Yeah, he's done that in a multiple.
But you know what, Bob? If somebody's going to set the standard, shouldn't it be Ozzy?
It's the Prince of fucking Darkness, man. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what I was saying, man. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
Sharon says there's still meat on the bone, so we're gonna do it again.
Says it's time for another tour. So, regardless of what other bands have done or said, I mean, that's a bad standard, but Ozzy still said it. I guess Ozzy's,
Let me tell you my odd opinion on this. Okay, I think had there not been such a major influx of grunge bands coming in and sort of taking maybe not the spotlight because they didn't want it, but taking sort of like taking the eyes away from metal, hard rock at the time and put it all on grunge. I think that's what made people that maybe thought about at that time in the 90s, I'm going to get out of here. It made some of the strong bands, I think, stick around to fight, if I'm being honest, because that right there we're talking about the 90s right here. We're talking about sort of a really good peak of the record industry. Well, it's after that, it's soon going to collapse. But I think maybe the competition is what kept them around. What
you're saying is true. The old schoolers, and some of I don't know if you're, Letty.
It's been a long time, Letty. How the hell are you doing?
My better half, by a long shot. Some of the guys like Iron Maiden at the time, who were in their, some of your listeners may not, they don't know this at all, but Iron Maiden was on hard times somewhat in the 90s after Bruce, their singer, left, and Dio and people like that were working, but struggling. Ozzy, that's a whole different, level, if you so to speak. So
yes,
you really can't compare the other guys that were just continuing to work compared to a guy like Ozzy that had his own festivals.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, he wasn't playing Mission, Texas, or San Benito, Texas, like Dio and Iron Maiden were.
I was just gonna say, you and I saw Dio at the Back Room in 2002. So you're right. That struggle was pretty big.
And that struggle was real, and that was a club date, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now that has nothing to do with the performance. The performance was brilliant, right?
Dude, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Who is it? So again, so not only am I a drummer, so I don't pay attention to guitarists, but I know that on that tour in particular, he was touring with a guy who played a Les Paul and always wore sunglasses and wore like a leather vest. What's that guy's name?
Well, sans glasses, but Doug Aldrich.
There we go. Yeah, he's like a journeyman monster.
He went on to play with Whitesnake and
okay. That makes all kinds of sense. I remember his performance because obviously, if you're going to be Dio, you're going to have a sick guitarist. That's sort of like the hand in hand thing, right?
That's like doesn't even have to be. Yeah,
we don't talk. It's like, of course, we're going to get a fucking guitarist.
It's a given,
So, what do you think about? What do you think about his performance?
Well, the problem is, or the question is, what do you think about not just about Ozzy proclaiming that no more tours, I'm done, and then continuing, but the precedent it sets for Kiss, Motley Crue,
I suppose if that is the if that's the case, then Ozzy did a good thing and made his fellow musicians millions and millions and millions of dollars. Because obviously, when you jump out of the game, you're not making any more money.
A good thing or a bad thing?
Well, what's what I'm trying to say?
Line,
what side of the stage are you on? Are you the performers? Because if you're the performers, it's a real good thing. But if you're the hardcore fan, then no.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. It's a bad thing on one hand, okay? When a band or an artist says, "This is it. It's our last tour. We're definitely not 100% not gonna ever come back."
Right.
And then they come back. But the question, well, it's my question. It's not everybody's question, but who's there to fill the void? And a lot of times, sorry to say, I may sound like an old man, out of date, out of touch. Regardless,
do it.
There is no one to fill the void. Reality, you know.
You're talking about right now in the touring
Well, I'm talking about even since '92 when Ozzy said, "I'm leaving. You'll never see me again." Who's the next Ozzy? Probably nobody. You know.
No, well, but then again, he then left it. He would have left it open for a lot of other bands to make a lot of money, but instead he stuck around and made all that money. So
true.
They could have. It's
bands?
not like
who's on.
Well, everyone
who at his level at the time was Iron Maiden.
I suppose at 92, if we're talking about 92, which is a very odd time for Ozzy. I think there wasn't a lot of metal. That was the death of metal at that time. So that's, I believe we're kind of getting to the same destination by what we're saying, because if there's no competition and there's no more money to be made, then you're easily going to retire. But at this point there was. So maybe he actually did retire, and then she's like, Ozzy, you got to go out there and make more than Nirvana.
He retired for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for him. He needed it, if we're being honest. There's no one in the world that needed a fucking break more than Ozzy. So
I don't know. Well, that's true. I mean, that may have been true even before '92.
And it's kind of crazy because I know that he obviously he still tours, quote unquote. And I believe Sharon says that she said the last date that they want to do is going to be at Aston Villa Stadium, where Ozzy's from. So they want to make that the last. So they're still talking right now about his last show. And we are saying, Ozzy said in '92, I'm calling it quits.
I want to say that his last full tour was Black Sabbath, dude. The End of the Road.
Yeah, because I don't think he was doing. Yeah, he wasn't doing solo stuff.
That was like 2017.
Yeah,
which I saw in Vegas and here in Texas. So I don't really wish I would have been able to see Ozzy tour after that. But what's your opinion on okay, let's go. Molly Cruz, kind of a recent offender. Kiss,
sure.
Kiss would be the next closest thing.
So if he's talking, don't start it.
That's 24 years ago.
Yes,
nice graphics, by the way, Bob.
It was 25 years ago. It's insane to think that, dude. What's insane
nice graphics,
also is this is the shirt from
nice, dude.
This is the show we went to, you and I.
Dude,
obviously.
We saw him so is this. What, 96 also?
So we got this right here, which was the farewell show at the Frank Irwin Center.
What year is that?
Yippee-ki-yay, 2000, baby.
2000. So that's 4 years later. Yeah, that's the farewell tour.
Yep. And I think we went and saw them again in San Antonio.
In 2024, 24 years later, 23 years later.
Yeah, talking about we're hanging it up now. Matter of fact, I think Ozzy, it was who was Bobby was saying earlier. He quoted. He said, "I've seen Kiss put the AI on hold." Like, yeah, they sure as hell did, man. When you get a reaction like what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, there's no Gen X that was like, dude, that's awesome. I freaking love that. There's no one that said that when they saw those avatars. It was absolutely.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm about to go long-winded here on you, Bob, but if you'll allow me.
I will allow you.
uh,
Go ahead. That's why we're
Ozzy,
here, dude.
Ozzy and Kiss and people like that. These aren't 90s artists, 80s artists. These are fucking 70s artists, right?
Yeah.
So if they want to fucking play as long as they want, you know, who is, you know, 90s people can criticize all they want, but
yeah,
they weren't even born, half of them, when
what's crazy,
these guys formed their careers, you know.
I don't
have a problem saying, okay, you know, sorry. You know, now Motley Crue and people like that, you know, they came around, let's call it a decade later.
Yeah, they were a little later to the game, and they were for some reason also considered glam too. And I don't,
a little glam, a little different. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, we can go on another conversation about that too, man.
It's the same, but it could be different. You know, it depends on who you're talking to, right? You know,
yeah.
What tree are you barking up here?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man. What Kiss did was first of all, it was such a long time since they had been together, the original four. I remember Tupac introducing them. And I lost my freaking I lost my mind, as probably did you and everyone. Yeah, I was gonna say, as every other head in the world was going crazy for that. But when that reunion happened, that was the sale of that reunion. Oh, you got the Yingling, bro. Oh my God, it's been a long time.
Sorry.
They really grabbed on to the perfect time to get the heartstrings of the fans that were all. It was such a differentiating. It was such a different kind of music that was out during the time that people were dying for the old shit.
Yeah,
and they
96 knew it. Was the perfect time, right?
God, man, and so when I saw that show, by the way, we had I think front row center for that. My brother scored us the sickest seats in the entire
Miami,
show.
right? Miami.
Yeah, I still have Paul Stanley's pick that he flicked at me from his mouth, which was another traumatizing experience. By the way, it was right. That's right there, right? The confetti and the pick from the Alive Worldwide tour.
That's about 12% of the population can just freak out on that with you. Right.
That terrified me. But anyway, that was a killer show. It was. I remember it being stripped down. It wasn't necessary. It didn't really feel like the old, you know, the candelabra, you know, with the snake thing, but
it was still kind of sterile, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that great, dude. It didn't have. There was nothing besides the Kiss lights.
I mean, on one hand, I was super excited, and I was reliving my youth. On the other hand, I was like, why didn't they you know, I wanted to see like Dark Lights, Fog, Destroyer kind of rock and roll over tour. And it wasn't that. It was kind of bright and sterile and empty stage. A little bit, man. I don't know.
I still think what I liked about it, I liked that felt like, made it feel like it was a club show, if I'm being honest. And I was in an arena, Miami Arena. And I remember that feeling like it was actually, the stage was smaller than I thought it might be, but they still looked like they were 10 feet tall, like I thought they would.
And they were.
They were. Yeah, they were smart how they did that. But, you know,
were you second row, Bob, on that with your brother?
We were front row center.
Front row?
To what concert?
Yeah. Kiss, 96. Miami. Dude, you get fucking. I'm sorry to interrupt your. I'm going to interrupt your whole podcast and say, dude, cheers to you and your brother, and that's incredible, dude.
Yeah, if you look,
didn't you see them in '96 with me and Letty, also my wife?
I was not in Austin at the time.
96?
No, I didn't get there till 97, 98.
So did you see us? When did you see Kiss with me and Letty?
2000, and then I think 2003 in San Antonio.
Okay, all right. Well, it was kind of like the continuation from '96 in a way, right?
If you can see though, at the very top of your screen, right there, it's got Kiss in this. It was row 1, seat B. So my brother had 1A and I had 1B.
God damn, dude.
Yeah. I don't know how long he paid that off for, but
it's almost like your own personal revenge, right? From not seeing them in the '70s to seeing them in the first row in Miami.
I mean, I think if if they were, by the time I was really heavy into them, I wasn't old enough to really start going to shows. I did later, but then it was no makeup era, and I wasn't fucking going to go see that.
I saw them. Me and my wife saw them. Letty, We saw them the same year in '96. Obviously, we weren't going to miss that, but we saw them. We saw it in San Antonio, and
Alamo Dome, I guess.
First reunion with full on makeup. Here we're going off on a limb. That was not their farewell, was it?
It was not. It was not. Their last show was December 2nd of last year at Madison Square Garden.
Correct.
24 years after their first farewell tour, they hung it up. You know what I mean? And again, that's for me, that's just classic Gene and Paul, if I'm being honest, man. And they stayed enough in the spotlight, sort of having stupid battles between Peter and Ace through the entire time. So that was fueling.
That's been going on since about '81, hasn't it?
Well, I think what they did was they sort of used it as a lit match for the flame of the farewell tour, because Ace is still touring as we speak, and Peter's hung it up a long time ago, but they're not. There's no industry anymore. There's no way they're not going to watch. I mean, they're not going to find a way to make money, and that's how it is. Yeah. Jason, what's up, dude? My brother, love you, man. Yeah. So I think at least in terms of Gene and Paul, there was no way they were going to continue to make money. It was the same thing. They probably saw massive success for No More Tours, and they were like, dude, if you can do this, it's not like these people won't come out and see you again, and I mean, the tickets weren't expensive, man, and I understand that the times were different, but it was like $25-$30 to see that tour. Who cares? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So now that there's no industry, that's why tickets are thousands of dollars a piece, and they can kiss my
talking about, I mean, I know they're not on our list here, but I mean, if you want to talk about big bands that promised to never come back, how about the Eagles, dude? And that was like 22 years ago, right? Wouldn't that be like 2000?
And then they sort of make fun of themselves by saying like the Hell Freezes Over tour. You know what I mean?
Hell freezes over. Hell has frozen over.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's one of those bands where I don't know. I don't know when the last time the entire original lineup played together, but that's what I would have rather have seen. I wouldn't want to see like piecemeal pieces of the Eagles. You know what I mean? Like they're not even. I mean, they're a huge American band, but they're not big enough to me where I'm like, all right, I've got to figure out. We got to go see these guys. But I don't know, man.
You can blow it out that way.
Good. You're good.
We're all good, man. It's all good. You're out the Casually Serious podcast. If you love cannabis, you love cannabis.
Well, what's your opinion on that? I mean, it's the Eagles. It's the same as Kiss or Ozzy, or in a way,
I think what it is we're talking about bands that are massive, and once bands are massive, they understand what a money machine they are for not only themselves but crews and people and families of crews, and so it's a money churning machine. Yeah, there's no band in the world, if they can still find a way to get out there and play, that's not going to continue to play, man.
Well,
my opinion is like, if they're going to make money,
how can you on one hand, how can you criticize a band like that? I mean, look at AC/DC, dude.
Right.
The new tour, it's basically, if you want to nitpick, Angus Young. The bass player just retired.
Yeah.
It's still called AC/DC, Where do you draw the line? I don't know, because who draws the line, dude? If not the fans, there's no one there to take the place of, like we've said before, okay, sure, there's a handful of standouts like Slipknot or Disturbed, but a Metallica,
late 90s, 2000s bands.
These are I'm sorry to offend anyone, okay? I don't mean to, but these are Slipknot, Disturbed, Metallica is, to me, reaching, if nothing else, dude. I'm not taking away from their talent, from their success, their numbers. It's mind-boggling, okay, to me, that these bands could make that kind of impact in the 2000s. Yeah. But we're still looking at what, 5 bands compared to 100 monsters that roam the earth, that long for 30 years.
I think we've been talking about that for a while.
My wife, we love, Slipknot's cool.
I love
There's
Slipknot.
Disturbed, like I said. There's who was the other standout I mentioned? You know, there's less than a handful.
Yeah.
No, Metallica. They were the last.
And
But that was
Disturbed, like you said.
That was 91. As I've said, I've come on your podcast and complained about it or pointed it out before.
Complain.
Yeah, pointed it out. Metallica's the last. You know, before Slipknot or Disturbed, Metallica's the last band to break big, and that was 91. So it's 4 years ago?
Yeah.
So,
well, we have to take into account a lot of things, man.
I'm not saying that they don't deserve it and that their fans aren't as legitimate as anyone else's fans in any era, but we're looking at dozens of giants versus 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm just saying it's not really relative. It's a standout.
The podcast needs to be
Well, what about this band? So Motley Crue's the most recent band. Matter of fact, they made a big deal about signing like a no performance agreement.
Yeah. Their contracts.
I feel like it was almost 48 hours they went, and they were like, you know what, dude, I don't think so, man. And they decided to go. I actually saw them for two of their farewell dates. A matter of one of them was with Kiss, by the way.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask, and this is just a personal curiosity.
Holler.
How is Vince Neil?
Horrible.
Ha! I'm sorry, I can't not laugh when you say
horrible.
When you say
Really, the problem is this. So we all know, people who have been to a lot of concerts, anyone who's been in a band knows vocalists. We understand that there are things that vocalists do with lyrics and songs to make sure that they can breathe correctly through songs and maybe not pronounce a certain word all the way through to save a half a breath. All that shit adds up in a performance.
Look, Bob, let me reinforce your statement. I've been a semi-professional musician. I'll say semi, okay?
You're a pro. Go ahead.
I played all over the world. I played
only a pro would say that.
Over 1,200 gigs. And when you say the singer, that's really the key, dude. Yeah. That's the linchpin. That's the hard part.
Look, dude, you can have a great band, you know, like
you have a great band. Yeah, if your singer's not,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
The real problem with Vince Neil was even throughout, because I was saying to myself, well, I didn't get to see them on Too Fast for Love. I didn't get to see them for Shout. I didn't even get to see them for Theater. I didn't get to see them for any of those great tours.
Guilty as charged.
But I said to myself, you know, I'm gonna try and see what these guys do. And the problem with Vince is that he can't sing anymore, so he talks through a lot of that. And so he winds up not being able to catch up with his voice, man. And at this point, I'm just like, he gives it to the crowd with the microphone a lot more than he should. Like,
I understand and get the original appeal of Motley Crue and Vince Neil, but when you said he can't sing anymore, it's almost like I'm thinking, well, he never could sing to begin with.
Yes, because like I was saying, I went and found some footage from live shows from a long time ago, from Shout, from fucking Too Fast. Yeah. And he didn't sound very good a lot. Right. The problem is
I'm not trying to slight, throw Vince a fucking curveball here as a singer. The same can be said for, David Lee Roth made great records with Van Halen.
Right.
But he could never sing to save his life live.
No. He was just out there doing what he did, man.
It's not like Vince Neil. I think Vince Neil, invented and broke the mold on bad singers. No, of course not.
He was an amazing studio singer. He did some really good
shit. And let's be honest, Vince made some pretty good few good records too.
There's a lot of great songs. Livewire, Red Hot, dude. Like there's some shit that
if
they're banging, dude.
I'm not into that kind of thing personally, but if you are, and I get it, it's
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no, there's anything wrong with it. No, good, solid fucking stuff, man.
Look, man, there's a lot of good crew, but again, what happens and you don't foresee this as a singer, as a young singer, when he's making these records, he's not thinking to himself, I don't think this high-pitched voice is going to last 20 more years. You're not saying that. You're smoking cigarettes. You're doing blow. You're shredding your voice because you don't give a shit. You're just living the way you're living. The record company doesn't care that you're doing all this. You're getting ridiculous advances. He didn't take care of his voice. He didn't take care of his instrument, as like a lot of old school metal vocalists didn't wind up doing. But there's a lot of great ones that did.
Let's get super real here too. Those of us or those people or whoever might say, "Oh, he wasn't a good live singer. He wasn't this. He wasn't that." Try it. Don't try it for 24 hours. Try it for 24 months.
Right. And here's another example.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, because I think it's easy to sit back and definitely criticize because none of us are singers. You sing. I've seen you sing. I've heard you sing. You can sing. But it's not one of those.
I'm not a singer. That's for sure.
I mean, you're a backup singer.
I recognize that the throat is not like fingers in any situation, and it's to be taken completely different.
Yes.
If a singer in my own band says, "You know what, dude, I can't go on tonight," I'm not going to be a dick and say, "Why not?" I'm not the singer. Dude. Thank God. In my projects. So, it's a whole different thing, man. Yeah. Well, hell, that might lead us back to Mr. Paul Stanley. Yeah.
Well,
have you been listening to that for the last 4 or 5 years?
Paul Stanley? His rants?
No, his quality of.
That. See, here's the deal, dude. We can go back to this, but let me bring something else up real quick. This is a show you, and your wife attended. Okay. And if we're talking about
heaven and hell,
and we know at the time that Ronnie, comparatively, because we got to see him at the back room for that Kill the Dragon tour, Slay the Dragon tour. I keep forgetting that one. Which I just got. I remember I showed you. I got the shirt for that.
Killing the Dragon. Yeah.
There we go. Dio still at the end of his career, because unfortunately we lost him not long after this show.
Right.
But at the end of his career, knowing he had cancer,
we saw him. Was that 12 years later we lost him? Maybe after we saw this day here you're looking at the back room.
Yeah, I don't remember the year it was.
Rocks right here.
Yeah, that was the Red Rock show you guys came to.
Oh shit! Lost him about 6 months later. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say that was. I think that was right around 2010. I feel like was the year. But regardless, what my point is, even at the end of this guy's career, he still put on one of the sickest performances I have ever seen. I have very, very bad video of it on a shitty camera that I have on my YouTube channel. That
I don't even remember you having a camera.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures of that show. And it was really cool.
You remember us seeing him getting out of the van?
Yeah. That's sick, man. Yeah,
getting out of the van.
I remember people who don't know that walk up the Red Rocks can be a little treacherous. I just did it. I mean, I've done it dozens of times since then, but I just did it recently, and I was like, I complain a lot about that. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I was like, but it's still, when you're out of town and you're already out of breath from that shit, it just makes it worse. It's a tough one.
I mean,
no one needs to do that anymore, by the way.
A few of your listeners may not even know who we're talking about. Right?
You know what? I think the Casually Serious podcast is definitely, I would say, a majority Gen X. So they definitely know who we're talking about. There's no one in the comment section right now that we've lost, and we haven't really lost many viewers, which thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Yeah, for sure. But again, I mean, I don't know, man. I think here's the deal. We're more than ever right now. We're in a time where it's about making big money. Okay. That's the reason why tickets are millions of dollars. It's the reason why everything costs so much money, because there's no record industry to give these folks money. So what you're doing is you're paying a band for their record that they didn't make, the T-shirts they didn't sell, and the merch they didn't sell up front with the price of the ticket is basically what you're doing. And I'm it's really soured me. I'm lucky and fortunate in my life. I've seen so many killer bands and so many top-notch comedians that at this point, I think I can kind of slowly retire and maybe just pick and choose a show here and there if I can afford it. But
Bob, you saying you're soured on concert prices?
Mm-hmm.
I hate to beat the old drum, but I saw Judas Priest and Iron Maiden on in the same night. Like,
On one bill.
yeah, on one bill for $8, dude. In 81. So when my wife says, "Let's go see so and so for $200," I'm like, "You're out of your mind."
but you know what? Listen. Here's the deal. Our generation, we're probably gonna pay that, dude. Do you know what I mean? Look, we're heads. We're fans of these bands. We're gonna pay it, dude.
I've paid it before,
The most I ever paid for a band was I think was 2017 or 18 when the Misfits reunited and put Dave Lombardo on drums.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I paid $320 a ticket.
Jesus Christ, Bob!
And I didn't give a shit. I'll do it again. That was one of the best shows I could ever have imagined because I'm such a Misfits fan. As you can tell, their masks are all over my freaking house, or my podcast room.
Hey, was part of such a big ticket price like you were going to have fun no matter what?
No, because it was the tickets were in a great area. I was probably I think maybe 10th row for this, so I was real close to the band. It was just really worth it, man. And again, that I have killer footage of that on my Facebook channel. Unfortunately, Danzig stung me for every one of the videos I put up, so I had to pull them all down. But the concert price thing, I'm a little soured at right now. But this year, Slipknot is going to tour for their I believe their debut album. They're going to do the 25th anniversary of that, and I think they're going to do some small club dates
with a new drummer.
Right, with a new drummer. But they're going to do some small club dates. I don't know if they're going to do big arenas. I think they're going to try and do some smaller shows.
Is there such a thing as a small club date for Slipknot?
Look, if they come back to Denver, that means they can come to the Ogden Metro. They can come to any of these clubs that are basically the size of the back room, maybe a little bigger, and they could sell it out super quick.
Sounds like it would be insane, dude.
It would be insane. I would be there.
3 minutes.
I would be there. I would be so there. That's what's funny about that. I did not leave.
I want to come with you.
I didn't become a Slipknot fan until I left Texas in 2007.
I know. We caught on like 10 years later, but can we come with you to the Slipknot gig in Denver?
Yes, dude, for sure. Yeah. We definitely want to have you guys back out here, man. There's no reason to not come out here. But yeah, I mean, again, they didn't say anything about farewell. They're the ones that actually said that the band can also live on with new members, i.e., their sons or something like that. So. We don't. I don't know if we're here a farewell from these guys unless Corey doesn't come back from his hiatus for his sort of his breakdown that he had. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Again, I think really what it is.
Was one of the bands I mentioned earlier that are,
that's an outlier.
Outliers, complete standouts that are not the norm, and I really respect those guys. I'm not into Disturbed. Okay, I'm just naming them because there's Tool, right?
Fucking Tool, man. Yeah.
Disturbed, Slipknot. I don't know. Is there any?
Let's also say this. Let's also don't forget this. The bands that you're mentioning right there are not even. You can't put those bands in a genre. You can't say Slipknot is really anything. You can't say Tool is anything. You can't say Disturbed is anything. There's no bands that do what they do in any effing way.
That's why they're the only outliers.
Exactly. So with all the other competition, man, all the bullshit fell by the wayside and the strong bands stuck around. I don't know that I kind of get into things a little bit later in my life. I didn't understand what Slipknot was doing until much later in their until 6 years after they were big. But once I got it, once I understood where he was coming from, that band became therapy for me. And what's funny with Slipknot is the song I hated the most is my favorite song right now.
Really?
It's been my favorite song for years now. But when I first heard,
which one?
Yeah, it's called Eyeless. Eyeless.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's insane. It's an insane song. The chorus is just something a homeless man used to ramble. I think when they would walk out of their house, some guy would be like, "You can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes," and then it became like the hook in the song. It's pretty insane. Wow. But the thing is that I didn't understand their formula, so I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't understand what they were going for when they had come out, and I loved the imagery, the mask, and everything. Obviously, I'm a Halloween baby, but Oh, Bobby, you're asking me what my input is on Five Finger Death Punch. Okay, let me talk real quick. I'm glad that you asked me this. The reason why I brought this up, this comment up. So, years ago, I see this post every year on Facebook. I went out and said, I just purchased a CD. So how long ago was that? I just purchased a CD of a great new metal band, and I can't believe that how good they are. And it was War is the Answer from Five Finger Death Punch. And I was like, these guys are fucking great, man. The drummer
What's the song?
was
What's the song you just mentioned?
The album is War is the Answer from Five Finger Death Punch. Bobby
Okay.
is asking me what my input is on them. And I love that album. That album sounded like they could go on tour with Slipknot without a problem. But here's what happened.
Okay.
The lead singer got sober.
You got what?
Sober.
Okay.
He stopped doing drugs and stopped drinking. And then the drummer from that album left and got replaced by somebody else. And they started going this sort of masculine love rock route. So as far as what anything after
they changed
War is
their
the Answer,
direction. What you're saying?
yeah, they weren't so aggressive anymore. It was definitely more sing-along stuff. So I definitely stopped listening to them. I'm not a big fan of them.
Let me ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
Hey, you stopped following them for obvious reasons. Did they gain a whole other?
They got bigger
because of it.
They got 5 times bigger.
See, isn't that weird? I've
music I like from them
in the distant past because they're commercial now. It's useless. Yeah, and they'll go on to sell five times the albums. You know,
there was 2 commercial songs maybe on that album that you could even play on the radio. Most of it was just so hardcore that they weren't going to play it on the radio. So the fact that they had that formula, they were like, all right, we got it. We got an underground following right now, a fan base. Now we're going to change this direction. And maybe they'll stay with us, maybe not. But the thing is that bands that even liked, it wasn't really sort of even just the music, the attitude that they sell.
Even Metallica did. Metallica did that same thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And I've never seen them live.
Load and Reload and all that stuff was a complete you know, what do you call it?
Garbage?
Well, not go. Yeah, on one hand, but it was
basura. We're gonna go with that too. If we can say that, we can do everything.
You know, they went completely away from the roots. You know.
Yeah. But here's the deal: we're talking about these farewell bands. They managed to stay true to their roots for these shows, and they're packaging. They're not only packaging the hits; they're packaging the memories that we have, and that's why they're so successful. Because Kiss, especially you and I, we talk about how we hate them, and we also know we love them. And so it really is like, if it's cool enough, I'm going to buy it. But if it's got Thayer and Singer, I'm not going to buy it probably. So I draw a line. There's bands out there, there's friends out there like you that are purists like I am that draw the line in some way. But there's fans out there that are like, dude, we don't care, bro. We just want to hear rock and roll all night. And they name all the hits that, you know, they're not looking for Dark Light or Parasite, or they're not looking for any of the good shit. No one's saying, why don't you guys play a Torpedo Girl? You know, no one's asking for that. But
no one's asking for that, right?
They're gonna pass. They're gonna package a really good memory package for us and sell it. And they've been doing it. At this point, though, at the end of this conversation now is because we're talking 53 minutes now. The end of this conversation is this: at one point, do you need to pack it up? Because like you asked me earlier about Paul Stanley's voice live, that should have happened about 10 years ago. I think they should have. And I'm not saying they should have packed it up, because as a band they should have packed it up. It's been at least 10 years that Stanley's voice has been really, really bad. And for no other reason other than having one of the most badass voices for the entirety of his fucking life. So that's the reason why it suffered. It's a very different raspy scream of a voice, and that can't last very long either.
I'm of the opinion where I can't compare old bands, old guard like Kiss, Ozzy, you know, that keep going too long after the party, you know, into the party too deep. I can't compare them to Slipknot or Disturbed or Guns N' Roses or anybody like that, because they're freaking 30 years older. You know, they've done it for that many more years and done it well.
Right.
We're only talking about them falling off 10 years ago,
Right.
vocally, right?
Yeah. And for
Or
Corey Taylor to still do what he does, his voice is absolutely amazing.
I agree.
And for him to be
but
doing that for so
he
many years.
he hasn't put in the kind of time that Paul Stanley has. Paul Stanley
I don't
has 20, 30 years on him.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
there's no way. And it'll be shorter and shorter for every band after them, which it already is.
In my opinion, Corey Taylor and these guys from the 90s can do whatever the fuck they want because they still have, so to speak, 20 years left. Whether they feel that way or not.
If we're using the barometer of Kiss and these guys their
right,
age,
we're
then
using
you're right.
the I don't know if maybe we shouldn't let the Kisses and Ozzies set the bar because that's
no.
That's kind of insane. You know?
And basically the median age of every Slipknot member is my age, 50, 51, 52.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, dude, I'm near the end already. And I'm like 30 years behind these guys.
Near the end. Say goodbye to Stony Grantham, ladies and gentlemen. He's out of here.
I don't know if the DNA is just not intact anymore, you know, after these guys set the bar. Look at, you may not be an Alice Cooper fan, but dude, Alice Cooper's on tour right now.
He's he's the guy. He's who I saw play with Motley Crue for two shows in a row.
Call me a fool, but did Alice Cooper not smoke Motley Crue?
Well, obviously he did. Just because of Vince Neil sucking and Tommy Lee wanting to play some crazy techno shit on his drum set. That really just pissed me off.
And Alice still not sucking, right?
He didn't suck, and he had a lot of hot chicks on the stage with him, dude. And it was just really cool, man. The thing is that Alice Cooper just goes out there and does his thing, and he's a performer. He's got the top hat. It's something that if you've bought into it at one point in your life, when you see it, you'll buy into it again because you need to know that this man started.
Not just buy into
the
it,
shock
the
rock
guy's
thing.
Doing it as good or better than he ever did.
Yeah. And he had a little bit of uprising in the 90s too with Poison.
How many bands now can you say that about?
Well, we'll keep going back to this. There's no record industry, so there will be no more bands like that again. Because all the old dudes with the cigars in their mouth have dried up and died, and no one's there to take their place because there's no record industry to take their place. So everyone's DIYing their albums, they're DIYing their tours. They're streaming to the exact same place this show is streaming to, all the platforms, in order to get their stuff out there. And it's tough, man. I mean, that's work. You got to put in some serious work.
Yeah. I don't mean to come off as some cranky old man, you know, but
I can't help but be that nowadays.
Well, when you crunch the numbers, you know, there's really no comparison.
No.
You know.
No, because not only were these bands out for 30 years, they were absolutely smashing records and making millions and millions of dollars in the interim doing all of this. So it's not like these bands were just lingering for a long time. So when you hear them say farewell.
Well, while you're absolutely spot on, they're also putting in the work.
Right. And
you
also
have
taking the lumps.
Everybody's criticizing, they've stayed too long at the party. But the guys that stayed too long at the party are working a lot harder than the people criticizing them.
Right.
You know, nobody wants to talk about that aspect.
They look like they're made of leather and they smell like cigarettes, but that's just the way it is, man. That's just
what's your opinion? I don't want to steer your show, but on the Kiss, what are they called? The new thing to come after the last show?
Yeah, that's what our friend Bobby Paget mentioned, I think, or was it Bobby? Yes, it was. He just says that he saw the Kiss AI got put on hold. I remember watching, because they blew it up after the Madison Square Garden show. They introduced it to everybody, and then it got the worst reaction. And so Paul was like, you know what? Maybe we're gonna go ahead and people just didn't understand what that was about. They're not ready for that, and they just pulled it. They were like, we're gonna. It's in its infancy or some shit like that. And we're like, no, dude. That was basically like every really horrible Kiss video game we've ever seen. Psycho Circus sucked. Every Kiss video game sucked, and that's what it looked like.
Do you think it'll be another Kiss unsuccessful launch that we don't really see again? I mean, do you think they're just gonna, trash it without saying they're trashing it and put it to bed. And you think we'll see it again?
I'll tell you this much. I would not be surprised if Nick Simmons has something to do with the future of Kiss, including Paul's son as well. They're at that age where if they're not going to have anything to do, meaning being a musician in Kiss, they probably will keep it going in some way. You can get yourself a group of like 28-year-olds that are good at rock and roll that kind of look like these guys in makeup. You can keep Kiss going for another 20 years, probably 30 years, way after we're dead, dude.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree. I think that without Simmons and Stanley standing on that stage, even whatever, regardless of what Simmons and Stanley say, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be successful, dude. That's just my gut reaction. I don't have anything to lean on and tell you, why it's not going to be successful.
You're just feeling it. I understand, man. I get it.
It's a gut reaction. Dude. I'm saying, as long as what are these things called? What are they calling them? The Kiss
avatars.
Yeah, the avatars. I don't think it's going to come across the way that.
Well, it didn't.
The way that Stanley and Simmons do still. Once they're gone, I think the avatars are just a minor blip.
What can they do? Dude, we're talking about it's almost the same thing as.
If I'm proven wrong and it's gigantically successful, then great.
Dude, it's the same shit as the Dio hologram, dude. Who the hell
wants
to
exactly.
See that? Terrifying,
the Dio hologram hasn't really taken hold, has it?
No, I don't want to see that. That's terrifying.
I don't want to see it either.
After seeing
I don't
him
want
in
to
real
go
life,
to that.
No, that's fucked up, dude.
Because I saw the real guy.
Right.
So,
yeah, but I can see how.
Go see the Kiss,
You understand though how an older man right now is going to be like, you know what, man, we're getting old, we can't tour anymore. Maybe we just make computer generated versions of ourselves, and they're just like, yeah, that's a great idea. Run with that because the kids love computer graphic people now. That's not the way it is anymore, dude. Not to mention, Kiss is so out of touch with modern music
There's
anyway.
So much graphic everything that the last thing anybody really wants to see is a zeros in one form of Kiss.
Exactly, man. Well, listen, man, we're gonna wrap. We should.
I'd rather just listen to the original albums.
We're gonna wrap this stuff up, man. We've been at it for an hour and 2 minutes, but it was awesome talking to you about this, man. I know that we said a lot of things about these bands, but if they were to stick around, and I think really for this conversation, it's for us anyway. It's like if they still sounded great, we would probably still go and see them. But what I don't want to see is I don't want them to screw up my memories of them playing good live.
Are you talking about Kiss specifically, or just
just really any of these bands?
Yeah,
that are going to play past their time.
Let's be honest. Paul Stanley served his time, right?
Yeah.
The rest of Kiss as a whole, they sound pretty fucking good still.
Yeah, they actually do.
I won't buy a ticket to go see Thayer and Singer because I've seen them before and they were great, but I don't know. It's just it's not all bad. In other words, my point is that maybe Paul's suffering or so and so and this other. I don't want to go see a Jim Morrison or Rolling Stones Avatar show either. Really,
no, we're not doing that. That's not happening. Not in our lifetime.
So I'm not. It is what it is. I guess at the end of the day, right?
It's insane, is what it is, man.
Well, you still have the albums, you still have the memories and all that stuff.
We still have the memories. Yes. I still have the high 8mm videos of Drifter too.
I was going to show you, Bob, real quick.
Go ahead.
A label called Alone Records in Greece has reprinted the 2010 vinyl.
Really?
Shadowkeep on vinyl.
That's pretty sick.
Never on vinyl before. And
you guys aren't old enough.
And this is the last release from Still Records I'm on. And there was also this release. But anyway,
wow.
Alone Records in I just got a vinyl shipment from
That's pretty sick,
Alone
man.
Records, and like I said, there's still stuff where people are coming out with.
Good. There are bands that are making metal, guys. If you're out there, listen to Bifist, listen to some Shadowkeep, listen to these guys. Stony makes some amazing metal, man. This is some good stuff.
Not as interesting as old Kiss, calling it a day, perhaps. But anyway, that was a selfish plug. But
no, bring it on, man. That's what it is. I'm glad to see they were doing that. Congratulations,
yeah.
That's good, man.
What's
Hopefully
your
that brings you like
on what do you think about John 5? Well, John 5 and the whole Mick Mars thing.
So I look at that handled almost in the same way Slipknot handled getting rid of Joey Jordison, because it was a hard line for both of them to toe. Both of those band members had serious debilitating bone issues. Yeah. And at one point, Joey had to be carried on and off stage to play those Slipknot shows. And his performance was suffering. It was really, really sad. And the same thing with Mick. Mick was always looked like he was always in bad shape because of him
for like 25 years, right?
Yeah, I think just like anything else, man, we're talking about a band, and Vince Neil is just like, you know what, man, we're just going to get another guitarist, and everyone's probably looking at themselves going, dude, we need another fucking singer. We don't need another guitarist, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? They
replaced the wrong guy,
right? They're just like it's the dumbest thing. But again, is John 5 going to say no? That guy's going to make millions
all fucking night, dude.
Dude, let me tell you, man. That's
we
what
don't need a new guitar player. We need a new singer.
You could keep Mick Mars and just bring like a 28-year-old kid up there who's just like, dude, I know the whole catalog, bro. I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah, but 80% of the audience is gonna be like, "Good, it's not Motley Crue, it's not Vince."
Vince isn't Motley Crue anymore, dude.
As horrible as he is,
he's not doing Live Wire. No, it's not happening anymore. He doesn't do any of that shit anymore. It's impossible, dude. Impossible. Anyway, Stony, hang out for a second. Where we're gonna take off, though, I'm gonna shoot the show. Thank you so much to everybody in the Build Different group, everyone who checked out the Casually Serious podcast on Facebook or YouTube. I really appreciate it. Everyone, thank you so much for our brother Stony obviously coming out and hanging out with us.
We appreciate it.
Of course, it was awesome. And that, folks, we're probably going to be back next week. Hopefully, Ken Man will be in from out of town. If not, regardless, I'm going to say hello probably in some way, shape, or form. But thanks for coming and hanging out.
Ken Man.
Yeah, man. Stony, thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all later.
All right.